The streets of Kigali were alive, bodabodas weaving through traffic, vendors shouting prices for roasted maize, the smell of fresh chapati in the air. Amid all that motion walked Amara, tall and poised, her green kitenge dress brushing against her ankles. She held a single withered red rose in her hand, its petals dry, edges curling. Her almond-shaped brown eyes, framed by long braids under a deep red headscarf, were locked on the city skyline. She wasn't here to admire its beauty. Her eyes were fixed on the tall silver tower where Malik Karima ruled his business empire. "You took everything from me, Malik," she murmured under her breath, "and now I will take everything from you." Passers-by glanced at her, a woman alone with a strange flower, but she didn't notice. Each step she took was a step closer to the man she had sworn to destroy. Years earlier, in a small village far from the city, life had been peaceful. The scent of cooking beans drifted through the air, children laughed as they chased chickens, and drums echoed as dancers twirled in the center of the village square. Amara's father, Elder Cato, stood proudly watching his daughter dance in her green dress. Then, without warning, the night was split by the roar of engines. Black SUVs screeched into the village. Armed men poured out, torches in hand. Flames leapt skyward as huts caught fire. From one of the SUVs stepped a younger Malik Karima, sharp suit, cruel eyes, and a gold watch that glittered in the firelight. He watched, smiling faintly as Amara's home burned. Amara clutched her mother's hand, but in the chaos, her mother shoved a rose into her palm. "Run, Amara, don't look back." She ran into the dark, the rose pressed to her chest, her world burning behind her. Years later, Malik sat in a glass-walled cafe overlooking the city. At 35, he had the presence of a king, broad shoulders, tailored suit, and a smile that hid sharp teeth. As he sipped his Rwandan coffee, his gaze caught on a figure across the street. A woman in a green dress, a red headscarf, a rose in her hand. Intrigued, he stepped outside, crossing the road. "You look like someone who doesn't belong in this noisy city," he said with a lazy charm. Amara looked at him, really looked, for the first time in years. The man who had destroyed her life stood before her, smiling as if they were strangers. "Oh, I belong here," she said, her voice calm but steady. "More than you think." Amara began appearing everywhere Malik went. At charity events, she stood in the crowd. At an art gallery, she admired the same painting he did. On his private yacht, she leaned against the railing as if she belonged there. Malik's curiosity turned into fascination. Who is this woman? Why did she seem to know where he would be? What he didn't know, each appearance was planned. Amara had built a network of informants in the city. Every move Malik made, she knew about it before he did. And in the shadows, she was gathering his secrets, bank account details, illegal deals, names of men who wanted him gone. One evening, Malik's secretary brought him a package. Inside, a fresh red rose and a faded photograph. In the picture, a younger Malik stood in front of a burning village, the very night he had destroyed Amara's home. Malik froze. The sound of traffic outside faded. His secretary asked, "Sir, are you all right?" He forced a laugh. "Just an old memory." But his hands were trembling. That night, sleep refused to come. Amara invited Malik to a rooftop dinner overlooking the glowing city. She wore a shimmering gold dress that caught every flicker of light. The table was set with wine, candles, and Kigali's skyline stretching into the distance. "Do you believe in justice, Malik?" she asked, her voice smooth. He chuckled. "Justice is for the weak. The strong take what they want." Her smile vanished. "Then I am stronger than you think." The next morning, Malik woke to chaos. His bank accounts frozen. His name splashed across every news channel, accused of corruption and murder. His phone rang. It was Amara. "Why are you doing this to me?" he demanded. "Because you did it to my family," she replied coldly, before ending the call. Rain hammered the tin roof of the abandoned railway station. Malik arrived, breathless, his suit soaked through. Amara stepped from the shadows, holding a fresh red rose. "I should have killed you that night," Malik growled. "And I should have let you live," she said, stepping closer, "but not today." She handed him a USB, evidence of every crime he had ever committed. Outside, police sirens grew louder. Police swarmed in, dragging Malik away in handcuffs. His eyes locked on the rose in Amara's hand, vibrant and alive, as if mocking him. "You win," he spat. "No," she said softly, "my mother wins." Weeks later, the village stood rebuilt, laughter returning to the air. At her mother's grave, Amara placed the rose gently on the soil. The wind whispered through the trees, carrying the scent of new beginnings. Kigali Central Prison was a world away from Malik Karima's glittering office tower. The smell of damp concrete replaced expensive cologne. The sound of clanging iron gates replaced the hum of luxury cars. Malik sat alone on his narrow bed, staring at the gray wall. His once perfect suit was now a faded prison uniform, and his gold watch was gone. Every night, he saw the same dream flames, a little girl clutching a rose, and eyes filled with unyielding fire. He would wake up drenched in sweat, whispering Amara. Back in her rebuilt village, Amara walked through the marketplace. People greeted her with respect. Some even whispered, "The woman who defeated Malik." But victory felt hollow. The rose on her mother's grave had long since withered, just like the one she had carried into Kigali. One evening, she stood on the hill overlooking the village and thought, "I destroyed him. But what now? Am I only the shadow of my revenge?" Weeks later, Amara received a letter from the prison. "Meet me once. Alone. Malik Karima." She almost threw it away, but something inside her needed to hear his last words. In the prison's visiting room, Malik looked older, thinner. The arrogance was gone. "Why did you come?" she asked coldly. "Because," he said, voice low, "I needed to tell you. You were the only one who ever beat me. And for that, I respect you." Amara's eyes hardened. "Respect means nothing to the dead, Malik." She stood, turning away, but for the first time, she saw not a king, but a broken man. Months later, Amara planted a small rose bush near her home. It wasn't for Malik, and it wasn't for revenge. It was for herself, proof that something beautiful could grow again, even in soil once stained with ash. The first bloom came at sunrise. She touched the petals gently, smiling for the first time in years. The past would always be a scar, but it no longer chained her. The last rose of Kigali had finally bloomed, not in blood, but in peace.